सभापति महोदय, मैं आपके माध्यम से सड़क व परिवहन मंत्री का ध्यान अपने हरियाणा की एक बहुत ही अति महत्वपूर्ण समस्या की तरफ ध्यान लगाना चाहता हूं। हरियाणा ने चंडीगढ़ जो एयरपोर्ट है, शहीद भगत सिंह हवाई अड्डा चंडीगढ़ में, उसके अंदर कुछ पैसा भी दिया था और मेरी आपके माध्यम से आदरणीय मंत्री जी से निवेदन है कि पंचकुला के अंदर लाखों की संख्या में वहाँ पर लोग रहते हैं। डायरेक्ट कनेक्टिविटी शहीद भगत सिंह हवाई अड्डा चंडीगढ़ को नहीं है, घूम करके जाना पड़ता है। बहुत ट्रैफिक, भारी ट्रैफिक वहाँ पर है, परंतु
कृपया अपने स्क्रिप्ट पढ़िए।
महोदय, उत्तरी हरियाणा से बहुत अधिक मात्रा में यात्री शहीद भगत सिंह एयरपोर्ट से अपनी हवाई यात्रा करते हैं, विशेषकर पंचकुला जिला से, जो कि लाखों की आबादी का क्षेत्र है। वहां से अधिकतर यात्रियों को एयरपोर्ट तक आवागमन के लिए वाया जीरकपुर से होते हुए 10 से 15 किलोमीटर का अतिरिक्त मार्ग और भारी ट्रैफिक का सामना करना पड़ता है। ट्रैफिक जाम की वजह से यात्रियों को एयरपोर्ट तक पहुंचने में बहुत अधिक समय एवं कठिनाई का सामना करना पड़ता है। कई बार समय से ना पहुंचने के कारण उनकी हवाई यात्रा छूट जाती है, फिर मजबूरन यात्रियों को अन्य साधनों से सहायता लेकर के यात्रा करनी पड़ती है। मेरा माननीय मंत्री जी से निवेदन है कि पंचकुला से शहीद भगत सिंह एयरपोर्ट चंडीगढ़ तक के लिए नए सड़क मार्ग बनाने की कृपा करें, जिससे यात्रियों को हो रही असुविधा से राहत मिले। थैंक यू।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। श्री तीरथ सिंह रावत जी। श्रीमती माला राज्या शाह लक्ष्मी जी।
नमस्कार। मैं आज आपके माध्यम से सरकार का ध्यान मेरे अपने संसदीय क्षेत्र टेढ़ी गढ़वाल उत्तराखंड के देहरादून जिले की ओर दिलाना चाहती हूँ। मुरादाबाद मंडल के अंतर्गत देहरादून से कालसी तक रेल लाइन बिछाने का सर्वे 2 बार हो चुका है, जिसमें कोई भी टेक्निकल फॉल्ट नहीं है, लेकिन अभी तक देहरादून से कालसी तक रेल लाइन बिछाने के लिए स्वीकृत नहीं मिली है। ये क्षेत्र पचवादून जौनसार बाबा क्षेत्र में आता है और इस क्षेत्र के बहुत सारे लोग सेना में अपनी ही सेवा देते हैं। उनको आप उनके घर आने जाने की में मुश्किल सुविधाएं होती है। इसके साथ ही साथ कालसी शिलालेख पर्यटन की दृष्टि से भी बहुत महत्वपूर्ण माना जाता है एवं व्यापारी दृष्टि से भी ये क्षेत्र महत्वपूर्ण है। रेल लाइन न होने के कारण यहाँ से व्यापारियों तथा यहाँ आने जाने वाले पर्यटन को अत्यधिक कठिनाई का सामना करना पड़ता है। मान्यवर, देहरादून से कालसी तक रेल लाइन की मांग बहुत पुरानी है और समय समय पर मुरादाबाद मंडल के देहरादून रेलवे स्टेशन से कालसी तक रेल लाइन बिछाने की मांग होती आई है। मेरे आपके माध्यम से रेल मंत्री जी से अनुरोध है कि मुरादाबाद मंडल के देहरादून रेलवे स्टेशन के कालसी तक रेल लाइन बिछाने के लिए तत्काल स्वीकृति प्रदान करने की कृपा करें। क्षेत्र की जनता आपकी आभारी रहेंगे। धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद जी। श्री तीरथ सिंह रावत जी।
धन्यवाद सभापति महोदय। माननीय अध्यक्ष जी, मैं आपके माध्यम से बच्चों पर अपराध केस पर लापरवाही और बाल सुरक्षा हेतु सारे भारत में एक अलग पुलिस सेल, फास्ट ट्रैक चाइल्ड रेस्क्यू सेल, एक्टिव CRC की जरूरत पर सदन एवं सरकार का ध्यान आकर्षित करना चाहता हूं। संपूर्ण भारतवर्ष के पुलिस विभाग में बच्चों की सुरक्षा हेतु फास्ट ट्रैक चाइल्ड रेस्क्यू सेल का होना नितांत आवश्यक है। आज हमें भारत के 472 मिलियन बच्चों की सुरक्षा हेतु कुछ ठोस कदम उठाने चाहिए। माननीय, आज हर एक बच्चा बेशकीमती है। वह न सिर्फ अपने परिवार के लिए अपितु भारत का स्वर्णिम भविष्य भी है। दिन प्रतिदिन बच्चों पर अपराध बढ़ते चले जा रहे हैं, जो कि एक विकट समस्या है। और विडंबना है कि उनकी सुरक्षा के लिए कोई पुख्ता इंतजाम नहीं है। एनसीआरबी के अनुसार हर 8 मिनट में एक बच्चा पूरे भारत से गायब और हर दिन 108 बच्चों का यौन शोषण हो रहा है। आज बच्चों की सुरक्षा में अनदेखी का निम्न कारण है: 0 एफआईआर, जानकारी की कमी के कारण एफआईआर करने में देरी, पुलिस बल में अत्यधिक कार्यभार, समय, नई तकनीकी व मैन पावर की कमी, CWC अनाथालय के बच्चों की जानकारी ऑनलाइन न होना, पुलिस को नाबालिग की खोज या मिलने पर आधार कार्ड के इस्तेमाल की पूर्ण छूट न होना, नवजात शिशुओं का आधार कार्ड के अभाव में हॉस्पिटल से चोरी और ताउम्र घर वापसी न होना, 9 से 18 साल के घर से भागे बच्चों के मिलने पर नाबालिग व अभिभावकों का काउंसलिंग न होना। मान्यवर, आपके माध्यम से बताना चाहता हूं कि NTCRC से तुरंत एफआईआर और तुरंत कार्रवाई होना तथा केंद्रीकृत डेटा होने पर बच्चे के गुम होते ही सारे देश व सभी राज्यों की सीमाओं में बच्चे की जानकारी पहुंचेगी। बच्चों से जुड़े अपराधियों की जानकारी एक जगह एकत्रित होगी। बायोमेट्रिक प्रौद्योगिकी सुविधाएं तुरंत एफआईआर और तुरंत कार्रवाई न करने पर दंड तथा हॉस्पिटल या घर में पैदा हुए बच्चों के आधार कार्ड अनिवार्य रूप से बनाए जाएं। मेरा अनुरोध है कि कृपया देश में फास्ट ट्रैक चाइल्ड रेस्क्यू सेल का गठन करने के लिए ठोस कदम उठाए जाएं ताकि हम लाखों करोड़ों बच्चों को बचा सकें। मान्यवर,
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। श्री अशोक कुमार रावत जी।
थैंक यू चेयरमैन साहब। मेरे मिश्रिक संसदीय क्षेत्र जो कि हरदोई जनपद में पड़ता है, उसका क्षेत्र में बिलग्राम तहसील पड़ती है, जिसके अंतर्गत माधोगंज ब्लॉक आता है और यहाँ पर माधोगंज बघोली रोड है, जिस पर उद्योग धंधे बड़ी तेजी से विकसित हो रहे हैं। जैसे चाय की पैकेजिंग है, राइस मिल है, वेयर हाउस इत्यादि की स्थापना हो चुकी है। मेरा आपसे सदन के माध्यम से सरकार से अनुरोध है कि माधोगंज को औद्योगिक क्षेत्र के रूप में विकसित किया जाए ताकि वहाँ के युवाओं को रोजगार मिल सके। और यही धन्यवाद। इसी के साथ ही
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। श्री प्रभुभाई वसावा जी। प्रभुभाई वसावा जी। श्रीमती संगीता कुमारी सिंह देव जी।
Thank you, Chairman, sir. The permission for opening of 2 Kendriya Vidyalayas in Patnagarh and Titlagarh subdivisions of my parliamentary constituency is still pending with the central government, sir. The Patnagarh Kendriya Vidyalaya is under the civil sector category. The site selection committee had visited and submitted its report on 9th February 2022. And as per the suggestions and recommendations of the committee, the necessary renovations of the temporary building have already been completed. Further, the 10-acre patch of land identified for the construction of the school has also been levelled and is free from all encroachments. The Titlagarh Kendriya Vidyalaya is under the challenge method, sir. And the matter of the Titlagarh Kendriya Vidyalaya has been going on since 2010. So I request the Honourable Minister of Education, through you, sir, to expedite the process of approvals needed for the opening of these 2 Kendriya Vidyalayas in Patnagarh and Titlagarh in Bolangir Parliamentary constituency. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Shri Bholanath ji. Shri संथारामित्रा मौर्य।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सभापति महोदय। महोदय, शिक्षा व्यक्ति के व्यक्तित्व का ही विकास नहीं करती, बल्कि उसे पुरातन व रूढ़ मान्यताओं के गहरे भंवर से निकालकर प्रकाश की ओर भी ले जाती है। महिलाओं के संदर्भ में शिक्षा की बात हो तो माता सावित्रीबाई फुले का नाम आता है। उन्होंने न केवल महिलाओं को पुरातन रूढ़ियों की बेड़ियों से आजाद किया, वरन उन्हें एक खुला आसमान दिया जहां वह अपने सपनों की उड़ान भर सके। 19वीं सदी से पूर्व तक हमारे समाज में स्त्री शिक्षा प्रतिबंधित थी। जो थोड़ी बहुत शिक्षा दी भी जाती थी उसका मुख्य केंद्र परिवार व पाक कला की निपुणता थी। इससे अधिक समाज में स्त्री शिक्षा का कोई व्यवहार नहीं था। कहा जा सकता है कि भारतीय समाज में स्त्री चेतना का स्वर 19वीं सदी के सुधारवादी आंदोलन से आना प्रारंभ होता है। महोदय, सावित्रीबाई फुले महिलाओं के लिए आशा की किरण थी। महज 66 साल के अपने जीवन काल में माता सावित्रीबाई लाखों महिलाओं के लिए आदर्श व स्वाभिमान का प्रतीक बन गई। आने वाले कई वर्षों तक मां सावित्रीबाई फुले को भारत की पहली महिला शिक्षिका के साथ साथ एक महान सेविका के रूप में याद किया जाएगा। पूर्व में महोदय, मैंने माता सावित्रीबाई फुले जी की जयंती को महिला शिक्षक दिवस के रूप में मनाए जाने की मांग की थी, जिसका जवाब माननीय मंत्री जी के द्वारा लिखित रूप से दिया गया कि 5 सितंबर डॉक्टर सर्वपल्ली राधाकृष्णन की जयंती को शिक्षक दिवस के रूप में मनाया जाता है, इसलिए यह संभव नहीं है। महोदय, मैं आपके माध्यम से बताना चाहती हूं कि मेरी मांग यह नहीं थी कि 5 सितंबर की जगह 3 जनवरी को शिक्षक दिवस मनाया जाए, बल्कि मेरी मांग यह थी कि माता सावित्रीबाई फुले, जिन्हें आधुनिक भारत में एक ऐसी महिला के रूप में भी श्रेय दिया जाता है जिन्होंने ऐसे समाज में जब महिलाओं को पूर्ण आजादी उपलब्ध नहीं थी और वे उपमानव के अस्तित्व में जी रही थी, तब माता सावित्रीबाई फुले ने स्वयं की आवाज को बुलंद किया और महिला अधिकारों के लिए संघर्ष किया। आज महिलाएं हर क्षेत्र में आगे हैं और आगे बढ़कर समाज में अपनी उपस्थिति दर्ज कर रही हैं और यह शिक्षा के माध्यम से ही संभव हो सका है। शिक्षा ने स्त्रियों को उनके अधिकार दिए, उनकी सुरक्षा के लिए बुलंद हौसले दिए। इसलिए महोदय, उस माता सावित्रीबाई फुले की जयंती 3 जनवरी को महिला शिक्षिका दिवस के रूप में मनाया जाए, यह मांग करती हूँ। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू। श्री राहुल कासवान जी, श्री छतर सिंह दरबार।
मध्य प्रदेश मेरे संसदीय क्षेत्र में पुनासा डैम और नर्मदा डैम भरने से धार के अंतर्गत मालवा और निमाड़ अंचल की नर्मदा पट्टी ओंकारेश्वर डैम बनने के बाद इस पहाड़ी क्षेत्र से जंगली जानवर जैसे सुअर, नीलगाय आदि जो वहाँ रहते थे पहाड़ों में, वो सब मालवा और निमाड़ अंचल में आ गए हैं। ये जंगली जानवर इस पूरे क्षेत्र के किसानों की फसल को पूरी तरह तहस नहस करके भारी नुकसान पहुंचा रहे हैं। इस संबंध में सरकार से मेरा आग्रह है कि उपरोक्त जंगली जानवरों से किसानों की फसलों को बचाने हेतु तत्काल कोई कारगर कदम उठाए। धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद जी। श्री दुष्यंत सिंह जी।
धन्यवाद चेयरमैन साहब। सर, आपका संरक्षण चाहिए सर। आपका संरक्षण चाहिए मुझे।
दिस इज नॉट द पॉइंट टू बी रेज। हेलो
क्वेश्चन कर रहे हैं
सर।
आप अपनी बात रखो
सर।
इनकी बात रिकॉर्ड में नहीं जाएगी
सर। पूर्व राजस्थान नहर परियोजना ERCP वर्ष 2051 तक मेरे निर्वाचन क्षेत्र झालावाड़, बारां सहित 13 जिले में राज्य की 41% आबादी को लंबी अवधि की सिंचाई और पेयजल की जरूरतों को पूरा करेगी। ये खेती योग्य भूमि को 2 लाख हेक्टेयर तक बढ़ाएगी और भूजल स्तर में भी वृद्धि करेगी। इस परियोजना की प्रस्तावित लागत 37,000 करोड़ रुपए है। काम में देरी होने की वजह से यह आंकड़ा रोजाना बढ़ रहा है। राज्य इस परियोजना की कीमत अकेले वहन नहीं कर सकता। वैसे भी राजस्थान की वित्त स्थिति बहुत खराब है। इसका राज्य घाटा 4.36% है, जो FRBM की 3% की सीमा से अधिक है। इसके 2022-23 के लिए 15 वित्त आयोग द्वारा निर्धारित अपने वित्त और ऋण लक्ष्यों को पार करने का भी अनुमान है। इसलिए राज्य को इस परियोजना के लिए केंद्रीय सहायता की आवश्यकता है, जो ERCP को राष्ट्रीय परियोजना घोषित करके प्रदान कर सकता है। मैं माननीय मंत्री जी से अनुरोध करता हूं कि वह जल्द ही जल्द ERCP को राष्ट्रीय परियोजना के रूप में घोषित करें और PKC परियोजना के साथ ERCP के लिंकेज के लिए एक प्रस्ताव का सुझाव दें, जो परियोजना को राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर विचार करने का योग्य बनाता है। धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद जी। श्री विजय कुमार दुबे जी।
धन्यवाद माननीय अध्यक्ष जी। कुशीनगर लोकसभा क्षेत्र बौद्ध सर्किट एरिया है। महात्मा बुद्ध का परिनिर्वाण भूमि होने के कारण प्रतिवर्ष दर्जनों देशों के बौद्ध तीर्थयात्री यहां दर्शन के लिए लाखों की संख्या में आते हैं। महोदय, कुशीनगर के बौद्ध सर्किट एरिया को दुनिया के बौद्धिस्ट देशों से जोड़ने के लिए और यहाँ के पर्यटन को अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर विकसित करने के लिए ही हमारे यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री माननीय मोदी जी ने यहाँ अंतर्राष्ट्रीय हवाई अड्डा का निर्माण कराया। बौद्ध सर्किट एरिया से लगे आज भी पर्यटन विकास के लिए 195 एकड़ भूमि खाली पड़ा है, जिस पर बहुत सी परियोजनाओं का प्रस्ताव आज भी केंद्रीय पर्यटन मंत्रालय में लंबित है। पर्यटन मंत्रालय भारत सरकार द्वारा स्वदेश दर्शन योजना की गाइडलाइन को रिवाइज करते हुए स्वदेश दर्शन 2.0 हेतु नई गाइडलाइन जारी की गई है। मैं आपके माध्यम से पर्यटन मंत्री जी से आग्रह करता हूं कि कुशीनगर लोकसभा क्षेत्र के लोगों के रोजगार के अवसर को बढ़ाने के लिए और पर्यटन के क्षेत्र में कुशीनगर को अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर विकास किया जा सके, इसके लिए स्वदेश दर्शन स्कीम 2.0 में सम्मिलित करने का कष्ट करें। धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद जी। श्री राहुल कासवान जी।
धन्यवाद अध्यक्ष महोदय। मेरी लोकसभा क्षेत्र चूरू राजस्थान के अत्यंत महत्वपूर्ण राजमार्ग संख्या 52 का इस समय 2 लेन से 4 लेन किए जाने का कार्य प्रगतित है। यह एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण मार्ग है जो मेरे लोकसभा क्षेत्र के सीधे तौर पर पंजाब और कांडला गुजरात से जोड़ने का कार्य करता है। इस सड़क मार्ग का विस्तार कार्य 2024 में होना प्रस्तावित था, लेकिन माननीय सड़क परिवहन मंत्री ने हमारे निवेदन पर अत्यधिक ट्रैफिक होने को देखते हुए इसी वर्ष इस कार्य को किए जाने हेतु स्वीकृति जारी की है। इस कार्य के लिए मैं आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। लगातार बढ़ते ट्रैफिक के कारण इस मार्ग पर अनेक ऐसे ब्लाइंड स्पॉट बन गए हैं जिन पर आए दिन दुर्घटनाएं होती रहती हैं। पिछले दिनों ही चूरू तहसील के गांव ढानी डीएसपुरा में 2 बच्चों की जान चली गई थी, जिसकी वजह से आमजन में भारी रोष था। मेरे द्वारा संबंधित विभाग के अधिकारियों में पुलिस को सम्मिलित करते हुए इस मार्ग को सर्वे कर विभिन्न ब्लाइंड स्पॉट्स को चिन्हित किया जाने का कार्य किया गया है। हमने पाया कि क्षेत्र में अनेक गांवों में सड़क के दोनों ओर बसावट है होने की वजह से सड़क को आर पार करना में बड़ी दुर्घटनाएं होती हैं। इसलिए जॉइंट सर्वे के दौरान हमने पाया कि गांव भांगीवाद, बागसरा, अथुना, खोटिया, ढानी डीएसपुरा, रामसरा, ढाडर, लखाऊ, सौदरपुर बाईपास और वह खेमाना, डंडाल व गुलपुरा के रास्ते पर आरओबी, वीयूपी, एससीपी बनाने जाने की अत्यंत मेहनती आवश्यकता है। अतः मेरा माननीय सड़क परिवहन मंत्री से निवेदन है कि राजमार्ग पर दुर्घटनाओं में कमी लाए जाने हेतु उपरोक्त सभी स्थानों पर आवश्यकता अनुसार आरओबी, वीयूपी या कैटल अंडरपास बनाए जाने हेतु ब्लाइंड स्पॉट रिडक्शन स्कीम के तहत निर्माण करवाया जाए। धन्यवाद सर।
धन्यवाद जी। सुग्नश्री देवाश्री चौधरी।
Thank you, sir. I would like to draw the kind attention of the Honorable Minister of Road Transport and Highways towards the road connectivity between Raiganj, Uttar Dinajpur, West Bengal and Barshoi Katihar in Bihar by constructing a bridge at Makraghat. This work has the scope to strengthen the trade relations, provide the medical transactions to the people and the improve the business sector also between the states of West Bengal and Bihar. The road between Raiganj in West Bengal and Barshoi in Bihar is vital for the overall development of Uttar Dinajpur, Dakshin Dinajpur and Katihar districts. By constructing the bridge and new national highway road connecting the bridge, people from Bihar would also get easy access up to Bangladesh, connecting through National Highway 12 and others, which would further strengthen trade relations between the two neighboring countries and help in development of people of the region. This is one of the most important long-lasting demands of the people of my Raiganj parliamentary constituency. Hence, I urge upon the Union government to intervene the matter for development of the above-mentioned road, which will definitely benefit the state of West Bengal and Bihar in general and development of Uttar Dinajpur, Dakshin Dinajpur and Katihar districts in particular. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. Sri Santosh Pandey ji.
सम्माननीय सभापति महोदय, मेरे संसदीय क्षेत्र राजनांदगांव के अंतर्गत कबीरधाम जिला में कबीरधाम से कवर्धा से लगभग 20 किलोमीटर की दूरी पर चौरा गांव में स्थित दुर्लभ बैगा आदिवासी बाहुल्य क्षेत्र और ऐसा आकर्षण का केंद्र है वहां का भोरमदेव भगवान शिव का मंदिर, जिसे निहारने के लिए पूरे देश के और विदेश के पर्यटक बड़ी संख्या में वहां प्रतिवर्ष आते हैं। गौड़ जाति के पूज्य देव भोरमदेव और उस वहां की जो स्थापत्य कला है, मालवा की परमार कला शैली की प्रतिछाया है। यह मंदिर इन्हीं खूबियों और स्थापत्य कला, पुरातात्विक संपदा तथा धार्मिक आस्था के लिए जाना जाता है। महोदय, इसका निर्माण फणी नागवंशी शासक गोपाल देव ने करवाया था और जिसकी नागर शैली, जटिल नक्काशीदार चित्रकला इसके लिए जाना जाता है। यह इन सभी खूबियों के कारण पुरातात्विक संपदा, धार्मिक आस्था के लिए और यहाँ तीर्थ यात्री, श्रद्धालुओं और विदेशी देशी पर्यटकों का और वर्ष भर यहाँ भीड़ लगा रहता है। कान्हा से भी बहुत नजदीक है, नेशनल पार्क से नर्मदा जी भी नजदीक है। मुझे यह बताते हुए प्रसन्नता हो रही है कि मेरे संसदीय क्षेत्र के जिला राजनांदगांव में मां बमलेश्वरी मंदिर, जहां प्रज्ञागिरी पर्वत में भगवान बुद्ध के स्थल पर और वहां डोंगरगढ़ मंदिर में सीढ़ी, रेलिंग, पानी, शेड, लाइट, ध्यान केंद्र, श्री यंत्र, यह सब की व्यवस्था प्रसाद योजना के अंतर्गत किया गया। इसके लिए मैं सम्माननीय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी को आभार और धन्यवाद प्रेषित करता ही हूँ। महोदय, मेरा निवेदन है, मेरा आग्रह है कि भोरमदेव को पर्यटन मंत्रालय से प्रसाद योजना से जोड़ने की कृपा करेंगे, जिससे पूर्ण रूप से वह विकसित हो सके। माता का स्थान बमलेश्वरी, ये सब प्रकार से विकसित हुआ, भोरमदेव विकसित हो।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। श्री निहाल चंद चौहान जी।
धन्यवाद सभापति जी। मैटर अंडर रूल्स 377 में आपने बोलने का मुझे मौका दिया, मैं आपको धन्यवाद करना चाहूँगा। महोदय, मेरे संसदीय क्षेत्र श्री गंगानगर और हनुमानगढ़ में बहुत से किसानों की फसल बीमा योजना का लाभ अभी तक किसानों को नहीं मिल रहा है। बैंक और बीमा कंपनियों द्वारा गलत डाटा अपलोड करने के कारण किसानों को प्रीमियम जमा कराने के बाद में नुकसान के हर्जाने के रूप में मिलने वाला लाभ अभी तक नहीं मिला है। वर्ष 2019 में से लेकर वर्ष 2021 तक किसानों को इस योजना का लाभ से वंचित रखा गया। हनुमानगढ़ में पीलीभंगा सहित पूरे जिले में भूमि इंश्योरेंस कंपनियों द्वारा गलत अंकित किया गया, जिस कारण स्थानीय किसान बीमा क्लेम से वंचित रह गए और पात्र होने के बाद भी उन्हें इस योजना का लाभ नहीं मिला। ऐसे ही श्री गंगानगर में पूरे जिले में हर तहसील मुख्यालय पे केवल बुआई का प्रमाण पत्र जमा नहीं करने, क्लेम में हुई त्रुटि के कारण योजना का लाभ से किसानों को वंचित रखा। राजस्थान प्रदेश में राजस्व विभाग के पटवारियों द्वारा किसानों को बुआई प्रमाण पत्र जारी नहीं किए गए ऐसी स्थिति में किसान बुआई प्रमाण पत्र को जमा नहीं करवा सके। मेरा आपके माध्यम से केंद्र सरकार से अनुरोध है कि मेरे संसदीय क्षेत्र श्री गंगानगर और हनुमानगढ़ में किसानों की फसल बीमा संबंधी इन समस्याओं का शीघ्र निपटान हेतु पोर्टल खोला जाए, ताकि किसान नए सिरे से अपनी सारी जमाबंदी सारा सब कुछ अपलोड कर सके। इसके लिए जल्द से जल्द उचित और आवश्यक कार्रवाई कराने का
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद जी, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। श्री कृपानाथ मल्लाह जी।
Thank you, Chairman sir. I would like to state you that in my constituency, Karimganj, already declared 2-number national highways in South Assam. NIT under package number NHIDCL/DPR/02/2017 for consultancy services for feasibility study and preparation of DPR demand for construction of 2 new national highways in South Assam is very old, and NHIDCL had also invited tender for preparation of DPR in the year 2017. But even after a lapse of about 5 years, no tangible action is seen towards materialization of the following 2-number proposed projects. Number 1, Badarpur Ghat, Dullabchada, Mamit Road, length 150 km, Assam and Mizoram. Number 2, Silchar, Ainakal Timukha, Asimganj, length 90 km, shorter link between NH8 and NH154. Therefore, I earnestly request Your Honor kindly to make arrangements for early commencement of work pertaining to the above said 2-number of NH in the interest of electorate of my parliamentary constituency. I shall be very much glad if you direct your good office to initiate actions in this regard on priority basis. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Shri Santosh Kumar Gangwar ji. Shri Benny Behanan ji.
Thank you, Chairman. In India, the number of people with disabilities was stated as 26.1 million. And these persons with disabilities are facing a lot of problems in day-to-day life, whether it is finding a job or securing their life. The average percentage of employment of people with disabilities in the public sector is merely 0.5%, and in private sector it is 0.28%, and in the multinational it is only 0.05%. Therefore, by considering the importance of securing the rights of people with disability so they can participate fully, equally and effectively in society, the government should launch a national job portal which will provide private as well as government jobs for the people with disabilities. On the other hand, while considering the number of their proper treatments, health and for securing their life, the government should hence introduce a special insurance policy to these persons with disabilities. Hence, I urge upon the government through you to take this matter on the urgent priority basis and to take these necessary measures to ensure the well-being of the person with a disability. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Srimati Geeta Koraji. Sri Vincent H. Palaji.
Thank you, Chairman, sir. Sir, this is to highlight the fact and bring it under the notice of the Honourable Minister of Transport and Highways that the following stretches of roads under SARDP Northeast Phase A has been approved in principles and declared as new highways in the state of Meghalaya. Nong Stoin, Mau 8, Nong Jri, approximately 75 kilometers. Dikhya, Sutnga, Saipung, Molse, 84 kilometers. However, it has been 5 years since the approval was made, yet no development has been seen as promised. Our people are facing a lot of issues due to this, as it is getting difficult to commute to places because of the lack of adequate connectivity. Not just this, the slow progress of roads construction has also halted the economic activities around the area. I would appreciate if you could send a central team to decide on the said issues
and initiate actions to improve roads in the state of Meghalaya and speed up the construction process using innovative techniques at the earliest. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Dr. Kalanidhi Veeraswamy.
Yes, sir. Sir, thank you very much, sir. The railways can earn additional revenue if extension of the following trains via Kadalur is made, sir. It will provide extra inter-districts rail connectivity and improve tourism. I would like to highlight the numbers and the train routes, sir. It's 06541-542, Mayiladuthurai, Thiruvarur, Mayiladuthurai up to Viluppuram Junction, 06415-416, 06873, 06874, Mayiladuthurai, Tanjavur, Mayiladuthurai up to Viluppuram Junction, and 06403 and 404, Mayiladuthurai, Mannargudi, Mayiladuthurai up to Viluppuram Junction, and 06737, 738, and 06799, Viluppuram, Puducherry, Viluppuram up to Thiruvarur Junction, and 06725, 726, Melmarottur, Viluppuram, Melmarottur up to Mayiladuthurai Junction, and 06689 and 690, Mayiladuthurai, Viluppuram, Mayiladuthurai up to Mannargudi Junction, and the following train numbers 06691, 692, 694, 695, and 06877 from Viluppuram, Mayiladuthurai, Thiruvarur up to Nagapattinam Junction, sir. Sir, I request the Union Government to consider this request as thousands of travellers use these trains every day, and already several places the train stoppings have been stopped, sir. We would request them to consider that also. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Sri Madila Gurumurthy ji.
Thank you, Chairman, sir. Chairman, sir, Tirupati is an educational hub with institutes of national importance like IIT, IISER, and International Institute of Digital Technology, 7 universities apart from having medical colleges and engineering institutes. Tirupati is strategically located and is very close to other states like Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, along with lot of industrial clusters and police training college. The establishment of the world first forensic and allied sciences university campus to meet the demands of law enforcement agencies for forensic experts at national and international level. In the process of globalization of forensic sciences, it is proposed to establish national forensic university campuses across the country for the benefit of the scientific investigative experts of the country. I request through you, sir, to the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs to initiate the process of establishment of National Forensic University campus at Tirupati, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Professor Saugata Roy ji. Professor Saugata Roy.
Yes, sir. Sir, could you attend a program at the Constitution Club yesterday?
You start you read your script.
Sir, please, during my presentation, please don't look at the paper.
No, you have to read the script. You have to read the script.
I am reading. But you don't, please.
You please read the script.
Sir, I raise the following matter under Rule 377. The prime accused in the Boktui arson case, where 10 people died, his name was Lalan Sheikh.
ये नहीं है स्क्रिप्ट में, ये रिकॉर्ड में नहीं जाएगा. This will not go. This name will not go. Whatever is.
अच्छा आप बोलिए.
Whatever is written, you have to speak.
यही तो.
सबको यही करना है.
तो सर यही तो बोल रहा हूँ. दो एक omission हो गया वो बोल देता हूँ.
आप बोल दो ना.
Sir, he died in CBI custody in Rampurhat, Birbhum district, West Bengal, on 12 December 2022.
आपकी स्क्रिप्ट के मुताबिक बोलो. You are speaking out of this. ठीक है.
No, how many? 1-2 words only.
आप पढ़िए.
सुनिए ना.
हाँ, आप तो बहुत सीनियर लीडर.
हाँ, पढ़ रहा. His dead body was found in the toilet of the camp office of the Central Bureau of Investigation.
Kindly read your script.
I am reading it, please.
But this is out of the script.
You read word by word. Shall I repeat?
Okay.
Sir, CBI, camp office of the CBI in Rampurhat on the day. The family of the deceased, including his wife, has alleged that he was killed in the CBI custody, and it was not a suicide. CBI claims that he committed suicide, though they have not provided any proof. The CS, Criminal Investigation Department of the West Bengal Police, has registered a case against some officers of the CBI for causing custody death. And they have gone to the High Court against the same. We demand that there should be an inquiry by a sitting judge of the Calcutta High Court to look into the incident.
Thank you.
In the
Dr. Srikant Eknath Shinde.
Sir, CBI
Dr.
is killing
Srikant Eknath Shinde. Dr. Alok Kumar Suman.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सभापति महोदय। मैं आपके माध्यम से माननीय वाणिज्य एवं उद्योग मंत्री जी का ध्यान बिहार में निवेश और उद्योगों की स्थापना की ओर आकृष्ट करना चाहता हूं।
अब कृपया बैठ जाइए।
बिहार राज्य का अपना विशिष्ट स्थान है। यह उत्तर पूर्वी भारत और नेपाल की सीमा से लगे बड़े बड़े बाजारों से जुड़ा है। राज्य में 2 लाख किलोमीटर से अधिक सड़क नेटवर्क और 6,700 किलोमीटर से अधिक रेलवे लाइनों का एक विस्तृत नेटवर्क है तथा अंतर्राष्ट्रीय हवाई अड्डे की उपस्थिति से शेष भारत और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय बाजारों से अच्छी तरह से जोड़ती है। स्वर्णिम चतुर्भुज राजमार्ग जो बिहार के कई जिलों से होकर गुजरती है और प्रमुख मेट्रो शहरों से जोड़ती है। ईस्टर्न डेडिकेटेड फ्रेट कॉरिडोर जो राज्य से होकर गुजरता है कच्चे माल के स्रोतों यानी कोलकाता और हल्दिया बंदरगाहों और पड़ोसी राज्यों में खनिज संसाधनों के स्रोतों तक पहुंच प्रदान करता है। महोदय, यह बिहार में निवेश और नए व्यवसायों तथा उद्योगों की स्थापना के पर्याप्त अवसर को प्रदान करता है। अतः महोदय, मैं आपके माध्यम से माननीय वाणिज्य एवं उद्योग मंत्री जी से अनुरोध करता हूं कि बिहार राज्य में अधिक से अधिक निवेश और उद्योग स्थापित किए जाएं ताकि इस राज्य के युवाओं को रोजगार के पर्याप्त अवसर मिल सके और राज्य अपने संसाधनों का इष्टतम उपयोग करने में समर्थ हो। धन्यवाद सभापति महोदय।
धन्यवाद जी। श्रीमती शर्मिष्ठा सेठी जी।
Thank you, sir. Sir, the pandemic has been a source of isolation, anxiety, and stress for students. In addition, the times we live in, the students are constantly battling peer pressure, stress owing to examination and academics, parental pressure, feelings of inadequacy due to social media exposure, etc. National Crime Record Bureau's report from 2021 shows that suicides among students increased by 4.5% in 2021. It is worrying to note that student suicides increased drastically during the pandemic in 2020 and 21 and have been on the rise in the last 5 years. So, World Health Organization reported that 1 in 7 10 to 19 years old experience mental disorders which remain untreated and unrecognized. Adolescents and kids' mental health has long been ignored and stigmatized. It is necessary that we bring this issue to the forefront and address it. We need more initiatives at the school level for mental health intervention. Mental health care services should be made freely available in all schools. We also need initiatives that are aimed at parents and teachers so that they are sensitized to the needs of children or are in a position to identify their mental health concerns. Creating supportive social environments and networks is crucial to fight the stigma against mental health issues. I request the government to take necessary measures in this regard. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Shri Ritesh Pandey ji.
धन्यवाद अधिष्ठाता महोदय। मॉनसून के समय मेरे क्षेत्र अम्बेडकर नगर में देशी विदेशी पक्षियों के झुंड से टांडा ब्लॉक के देवहर तालाब का सुंदर दृश्य देखते ही बनता है। यहाँ सैकड़ों मील दूर से आने वाले साइबेरियन पक्षियों का प्रवास 4 माह तक रहता है। इसके अलावा हंस, सारस, सलोन आदि विभिन्न प्रजाति के पक्षियों की मौजूदगी आकर्षण का केंद्र रहती है, लेकिन पेड़ पौधों के अभाव में इन्हें उपयुक्त माहौल नहीं मिल पाता और ये पलायन कर जाते हैं। उत्तर प्रदेश में इस स्थान को एक अलौकिक पर्यटन स्थल बनाने की पूरी संभावनाएं बनती हैं। देश विदेश से पर्यटन के लिए आने वाले लोगों के लिए एक अच्छा पर्यटन स्थल बन सकता है और इसके साथ साथ इसके अगल बगल निषाद समाज और राजभर समाज के कई सैकड़े गांव के लोगों को रोजगार भी मिलने का साधन बन सकता है। जो विभिन्न तरह के रोजगार से अपने परिवार का भरण पोषण पूरे साल तक कर सकते हैं। इसलिए मेरे क्षेत्र के लोगों ने इस पटल पर इस समस्याओं को और इस तालाब को एक पर्यटन स्थल बनाने की का प्रस्ताव देने के लिए मुझे कहा है। इसलिए मेरी सरकार से अनुरोध है कि यहाँ पर एक सुंदर सा पंछी विहार का निर्माण हो ताकि देवहर तालाब का कायाकल्प हो सके। धन्यवाद।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। श्री कोठा प्रभाकर रेड्डी जी। चौधरी महबूब अली कैसर जी।
धन्यवाद सभापति महोदय। मेरे खगड़िया लोकसभा क्षेत्र अंतर्गत महेशखूट से नारायणपुर वाया गोगरी नई रेल लाइन का सर्वे रिपोर्ट अग्रिम कार्यवाही हेतु महाप्रबंधक कार्यालय हाजीपुर द्वारा भेजा गया था, परंतु रेलवे बोर्ड ने पत्र संख्या 2019 W2/ECR/NL/SY41 दिनांक 28/10/20 के तहत उपरोक्त प्रस्तावित परियोजना को स्थगित कर दिया है। मैं आपके माध्यम से भारत सरकार का ध्यान इस परियोजना की ओर ले जाना चाहता हूं, जो कि मेरे क्षेत्र का एक अति महत्वपूर्ण मुद्दा है। महोदय, मेरा खगड़िया जिला 7 नदियों जैसे गंगा, बूढ़ी गंडक, काली कोसी तथा बिहार का अभिशाप कही जाने वाली कोसी जैसी विशाल नदियों से घिरा हुआ है, जो खगड़िया जिला को कई भागों में विभाजित करता है। आज भी कई ग्राम ऐसे हैं जिनको सीधा संपर्क मुख्यालय तो दूर की बात प्रखंड मुख्यालय से भी नहीं है, तथा खगड़िया जिला नीति आयोग के अति महत्वाकांक्षी जिलों में से एक है। ये नई रेल लाइन महेशखूट से नारायणपुर वाया गोगरी, परबत्ता, डुमरी, अगवानी घाट, बिलदौर होते हुए जाएगी। ये वह क्षेत्र है जो आज भी बहुत पिछड़ा हुआ इलाका है। सर,
स्क्रिप्ट पढ़िए इस काइंडली
स्क्रिप्ट पढ़े सर।
रीड द
इस परियोजना से एक बड़ी आबादी लाभान्वित होगी तथा कई पंचायत से सैकड़ों ग्रामीण लोग इससे माध्यम से इसका लाभ ले सकेंगे। इस परियोजना से देश की रीढ़ कहे जाने वाली किसानों को बहुत बड़ी राहत मिलेगी सर, तथा उनके जीवन में व्यापन जबरदस्त
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद
आएगी। सर, एक और पॉइंट है सर, तथा
आप पढ़ लो, आप पढ़ लो, अपना खत्म हुआ।
मेरे क्षेत्र
वो नहीं पढ़ रहे सर, वो चीज है ही नहीं। आप नेक्स्ट बोलिए।
चलो ठीक। श्रीमती सुप्रिया सदानंद सुले जी।
Thank you, sir. Under the matter under Rule 377, sir, I would like to raise the issue of the effects of the lumpy disease that has been quite disastrous this year on our agrarian economy. 1,55,724 cattle have died so far, and 29,52,223 have been severely affected in my state, Maharashtra, and the entire nation. Dairy farmers are in constant economic constraint due to the loss of cattle, lowered milk production from the infected but cured ones, and are bearing extra costs to provide extensive diet facilities and medication to the affected cattle to prevent them from dying. As the loss is huge and severely spread across the country, a centralized plan is needed from the government to revive the dairy economy. For that, adequate compensation and medical assistance needs to be given to the affected farmers, and free and subsidized fodder should be also given to them at the earliest. Also, several researchers have revealed that the virus, which all the time mutates inside the host and has no long-term vaccine, can be guaranteed for this. As lumpy skin disease outbreaks occur in epidemics several years apart, a comprehensive research should be carried out to study its behavior to make a vaccine, so that future we can minimize and contain the spread of this disease which is affecting the farmer. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Item number 25, Samudri Jal Dushita Virodhi Vidhayak 2019. Shri Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary ji.
Sir, I don't have any qualm to subscribe the tone and tenor of this legislative document under the title Maritime Anti-Piracy Act. Already our Honorable Minister who has depicted the content of these legislations inside the House. However, he was not present in the country. That is why it would have been earlier passed, but not has been possible, because he has become a globetrotter who is visible in every nook and corner of the globe. We are proud of him. And I appreciate his pose and posture when he used to face the global media, where he maintains his monkey's calm and tranquility. And
I thought I must convey that.
So, I found him never frazzled, flustered, exhausted by his activities. So certainly, not only me, my leader always appreciate the work if it is done for the sake of the country. So first of all, you should wipe out the misperception of our leader, who is, I think, more than concerned of the people like you to see the country to be strong, to be dynamic, and to be progressive. See, our minister himself has already been entrusted upon other assignments also. He has become a proponent of Global South. Already G20 has been propagated in a highfalutin manner in order to glamorize an individual and a government. I do not know the significance of this kind of propaganda, because it is often said that a G20 is, long by intent, but short by actionable deeds. It certainly consists 80% of global GDP, 75% of trade, and 60% of population. But as a system of rotation, we have been entrusted to host G20 as a 17th member. And next, the job will be entrusted upon Brazil and South Africa. What I am trying to say, that certainly you should be propagating on G20 and other issues. But we cannot let ourselves to be indifferent to the other burning issues, especially in those China border conflict and relations. Because you know that given the present diplomatic cauldron, especially in the Indian subcontinent, we should put our focus on Indo-China relations. Because when we go for discussing on maritime anti-piracy law, certainly the issue will be coming up. I would suggest, Honorable Minister, आप जब बाहर जाते हैं 2x2 होते हैं, आप रहते हैं और हमारे डिफेंस मिनिस्टर रहते हैं, यहाँ क्यों 2x2 चर्चा नहीं होते, सारे एक साथ समाधान हो जाते, आप भी रहते, हमारे डिफेंस मिनिस्टर भी रहते, हम सब सारे हमारा जो सवाल आप दोनों के सामने रखते हुए सब समाधान कर लेते. Because sometime we used to ask you, but we know that some issues are related to the Ministry of Defense. Okay, let me say that the genesis of this legislative document lies in a Latin term, hostis humani generis, that is, enemy of humankind. It originates in the Admiralty law. Sir, we know that the International Court of Justice has no jurisdiction to try and punish the pirates. That is why globally it was felt that a legislation should be framed up in order to punish the pirates who have been plundering, ransacking across the ocean. In the wake of fall of USSR, which necessitated the withdrawal of US forces and Russian forces from the sea, helped those pirates to carry out their nefarious and heinous tasks. And we have found the geometric rise of piracy across those regions, especially Gulf of Aden, where 20,000 of ships transit every year. From Gulf of Aden to Indonesia, to Malacca, to Hormuz, Gibraltar, everywhere, we have to resist the pirates by ways befitting to them. So naturally, we had earlier become a signatory to the Convention of UNCLOS. Later, it was ratified in the year 1995. In the year 2012, the bill was introduced, but due to the dissolution of the House, it was not passed. Again, it has been brought up in the year 2019, and now it is going to be passed. It was the need of the hour, so there is no dispute of passing the bill. The bill was earlier called the Montagu-Beck Act, so we do not have any reservation in passing the bill. But taking advantage of this discussion, I would like to flag the attention of Honorable Minister that between 29 to 2019, 500 Indians were captured by pirates. Between 2016 to 2020, more than 900 such incidents occurred globally. And 10% of global seafarers, you also admitted it, belongs to India. It is reported by International Chamber of Commerce that between 2019 to 2020, attacks on ships by pirates, robbers, increased by 20%. So now, the question is that we are living in the Indian Ocean region. Indian Ocean region bears the great significance because Indian Ocean region is a third ocean. It is recognized as a third ocean, 20% of water. And not only that, half of the container transit through Indian Ocean region. 2/3 of the bulk cargo traffic passes across this region, which is an area of 68.56 square kilometers. Not only that, 55% of oil reserve and 40% of gas reserve are in the Indian Ocean region. Sir, Honorable Minister, I would like to flag your attention on another information that I have gathered. The recent analysis of global conflicts by Heidelberg Institute for International Conflict Research altogether suggested that 42% of world conflicts can be associated with the Indian Ocean countries. So we can easily, assess the gravity of this particular region. And certainly, the region has become a contest between America and China. There is no denying the fact. American Indo-Pacific strategy and China's border BRI and maritime silk route strategy, both are converges and diverges. So certainly we have to treat on this area very cautiously, and certainly our government will do it, that we firmly believe. But we also like that government may indulge sometimes of having a consultation with all opposition leaders, because the interest of the nation does not belong to the only ruling dispensation. The interest and security of the nation belongs to all, because India is a country for all of us. Here I would also like to point out that according to the Act's clauses 2, 3, 4, 5, the bill defines piracy to include any illegal act of violence, detention or destruction committed against a ship, aircraft, person or property, inciting or intentionally facilitating such illegal acts, voluntarily participating in the operation of pirate ship. Any person who commits an act of piracy will be punished with imprisonment for life to death penalty if the act of piracy causes or attempts to cause death. Number one. However, another clause in the bill provides for imprisonment of up to 14 years along with a fine if a person aids, assists, participates, organizes, or directs another person to participate in an act of piracy. Offences in both the clauses seem to be similar. It is unclear which penalties shall apply under such circumstances. So, Honorable Minister certainly will respond to our query. Another issue is extradition. I do not know how many countries we have had this kind of extradition treaty. And if not, bilateral reciprocals also could be done. So let us have an account of this extradition treaty and bilateral engagement with other countries, because you know that it has already assumed a global proportion. Now, that is the reason that most of the countries, especially those littoral countries who have their own interest in the oceanic region, they have been transiting even themselves also from their own thinking, from sea amnesia to sea cognizance has become a growing trend of all those countries. I would like to draw the attention of this government that Indian Ocean region is also recognized as an area of golden crescent, golden triangle. I don't know how this bill will tackle this kind of emerging menace across our oceanic region. That is why I suggested that you and Defense Minister both will be required for having the, effective discussion. Sir, United Nations drugs and crimes organizations also existed. We don't know we are also the signatory of that convention. But the issue is that we need more naval power. There is no denying it. My colleagues, Manish Tiwari, also highlighted this issue. And I think government also pondering over it. Because now we are being encircled. We are being encircled by China, our hostile country, China. A string of pearls concept has been applying upon us. China has been adopting a wolf warrior diplomacy, predatory diplomacy. They are, exerting their own influence upon those littoral states, namely for Maldives to Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka to Djibouti, Djibouti to Gadar. Everywhere we are being gradually encircled. Now we have to find out our ways and means of how to extricate the Chinese sphere of influence by our own. That is why we need blue water navy. I don't know whether the government has its financial sinews right now in order to counter the Chinese growing influence along this area. Already South China Sea has been dominated by China by 9 days. One imaginary 9 days. They are going to dominate the entire South China Sea. For a superpower, they need 2 seas. America has 2 seas. Atlantic, Pacific. China is going to dominate 2 seas. South China and Indian Ocean. There is no denying it. It is a strategic objective of a growing superpower. Only the Malacca dilemma China has been facing. But geography has given us a number of opportunities also. Because a number of choke points are in the vicinity of a strategic phenomena. But we have to explore how more effective teeth we can.
आप रूल बोलिए.
94.
You continue.
Sir, discussion on a motion that a bill or as the case may be, the bill as amended we pass shall support be confined to the submission of arguments either in support of the bill or the rejection of the bill. The member, while making the speech, shall not refer to the details of the bill further than is necessary for the purpose of arguments which shall be a general character. ये बिल जो है वो पायरेसी का बिल है. साउथ चाइना में क्या हो रहा है, अटलांटिक में क्या हो रहा है, चाइना क्या कर रहा है, ये कोई विषय है सर?
सर, रूलिंग पार्टी क्या चाहता है कि हमारा फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच छीना जाए?
ये रूल है सर. 94 और 107 दोनों एक ही है सर. 94 रूल 94 और रूल 117.
दुबे साहब एक मिनट. दुबे साहब सर
ये केवल बिल पर कन्फाइन करें सर.
में सब समय निकल जाएगा तो
ठीक है, आप बिल पर करिए और कंक्लूड कीजिए.
अच्छा, बात ये कि अगर जयशंकर जी कहे कि मैं गलत बोल रहा हूं, मैं अभी अभी बैठ जाऊंगा. मैं जयशंकर भी विचार पे छोड़ रहा हूं.
चलो आप आगे बढ़िए.
सर yes, the South Asian countries for their energy supply depends on the maritime supply routes in the Indian Ocean. This is a region where the US-led Indo-Pacific strategy and the Chinese-led Belt Road Initiative and the Maritime Silk Road converges and diverges, paving ways for these 2 countries to exercise absolute strategic advantages over one another. Sir, I would like to quote Mr. Kaplan. Once Kaplan mentioned that geopolitics is the battle for space and power played out in a geographical setting. Just as there are military geopolitics, diplomatic geopolitics, and economic geopolitics, there is also energy geopolitics. We are trying to secure our energy because Minister himself has stated that we have to secure our energy routes. That is why I am referring this. Sir, I know that the ruling regime, they does not want to speak on this issue more. But it is my duty also to flag the attention of Honorable Foreign Affairs Minister, because he knows the art of diplomacy. That is why I am goaded to offer some suggestion to him.
Thank you.
Sir, ho gaya. Sir, Jaishankar ji, according to Stalin, a diplomat's word must have no relation to actions. Otherwise, what kind of diplomacy is it? Words are one thing and actions another. Good words are a mark for the concealment of bad deeds. Sincere diplomacy is no more possible than dry water and wooden iron. Why I am saying is because before.
It is not Mr. Adhiranjan Chaudhary who is giving the speech. He is giving the point of view of the Congress party. So I would say when Congress is quoting Stalin, it should be taken note of.
I am quoting Stalin only only to enlighten the House that this government should not follow the path of Xi Jinping, because Xi Jinping is also a descendant of Mr. Stalin. That is why I referred it, and I thought it prudent to at least adumbrate our erudite external affairs minister. I think that external affairs minister will certainly take my views into cognizance without being provoked by those members of this House. So, sir, I am certainly supporting this bill, but the fact is that there are 2-3 caveats are there, because rarest of the rare cases has not been properly mentioned. Whether it has been wiped out, it has been abolished or not, that is not clear from this bill, because here you have mentioned that life imprisonment, death, both have been mentioned. So still some sorts of ambiguities.
Thank you,
ambiguities are there.
Thank you.
And so far as PMLA is concerned, that is presumptive clauses are concerned, I know that it is a very difficult task to clarify the issue, because according to Chief Justice Ramanna, the burden of proof was among one of the 2 prima facie issues that require consideration. When governments across the world are acquiring more extraordinary powers to govern people, it is essential to review the burden of proof, not just in the light of PMLA, but also in other laws that reverse the presumption of innocence. We are observing the assault of CBI. So this also should be reconsidered.
Thank you very much. माननीय मंत्री जी. नहीं मंत्री जी बोलेंगे, रिकॉर्ड में नहीं जाएगा. मंत्री जी आप शुरू कीजिए.
Sir, I rise to respond to the queries and concerns of the honourable members after I moved the official amendments to the Anti-Maritime Piracy Bill 2019. First of all, sir, I would like to thank all the honourable members across the House, because I think everybody has looked at this initiative very positively. There is a broad recognition that our country requires anti-piracy legislation. It is part of our international responsibilities. And I think, by and large, I can see there is unanimity about the bill. I also, sir, want to particularly thank the Standing Committee. The chairman of the Standing Committee, Shri P.P. Chaudhary ji, had to leave just now because he had a Standing Committee meeting. But I want to put on record that he and his colleagues of all the parties who are members of the Standing Committee, they have made many invaluable suggestions. Out of the 18 recommendations, we have taken almost every one of them on board. And their recommendations, I want to say, have greatly helped in getting the right balance in this bill. Now, before I come, sir, to the points which were raised by individual members, I want to clarify one issue which came up, which was the question of government amendments, because I think some honourable members were either they had not seen the amendments, they were not aware of the amendments. Shri Manish Tiwari ji actually in his remarks said it was presented at very short notice. I want to put on record that actually government amendments were moved in the last session, in the monsoon session. They were moved in the business which is there for the 3rd, 4th and 5th of August, and the amendments were actually uploaded on July 22nd. That was in the last session. In this session, before we had the debate on the bill, there was again an uploading of the official amendments on December 6th. So I want to be very, very clear and on the record that all that has been moved by the government side is very much available to members and that it was our expectation they would look at it. Now, the interesting thing is, even though some honourable members perhaps could not, for whatever reason, see the amendments, actually almost everything that they said, what the honourable member said, what the standing committee felt, and what is the government amendment actually converges. So it is not that we are at cross purposes with each other. Actually, most of the House is converging on pretty much the same issues, and I will address some of the issues. Before coming to individual members, sir, I'd like to focus on 3 or 4 common issues or important issues, some of which Shri Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary raised, some raised by some of the other members. And I think the most important of this relates to the death penalty issue. Now, what we have done, sir, is in the bill under section 3, 4 and 5, there is a range of punishments. There is a range of punishments which have been provided depending on the gravity of the offence and the extent of the culpability. So, for the sake of clarity, let me state that under section 3.1, whoever commits any act of piracy shall be punished with imprisonment, which may extend to imprisonment for life or fine or both. And the official amendment has provided for, has taken from the earlier punishment for life into, which was the only provision, has now actually done punishment extend to life or fine or both. Regarding death, the provision for death, under subsection 2 of section 3, earlier on there was a provision for death. Now that has been amended as per government amendment to punishment with death or with imprisonment for life, if such a person is committing the act of piracy and causes death or in an attempt thereof. So I want to assure the House Speaker, sir, through you, that the concern that there will be a mandatory death sentence is no longer relevant in view of the government amendment, which actually provides for death or life imprisonment depending on the nature of the circumstances. This is in keeping with the Supreme Court pronouncement, which many honourable members also raised in their remark, which is that death should be rarest of the rare. So that flexibility is there in the amendment to the bill. We have also kept in mind that extradition, many countries will not extradite if there is a death penalty. So that flexibility is also something, and some of the other members also mentioned that in their remarks. The second issue, sir, is the issue of graded punishment. Now, there are different articles and different levels of punishment. Under Article 3.1, for committing an act of piracy, you could have up to life imprisonment. But if someone attempts to commit or aids or abets or conspires or procure, that is then can be imprisonment for a term which may go up to 10 years. So it is a lesser offence. The punishment envisaged is lesser. If someone has participated or organized or directed another person in an act of piracy, the punishment for that is 14 years. So we leave it, sir, to the court to make the judgment depending on what is the culpability of a person. Accordingly, that option for the punishment is there. Then, sir, many honourable members raised the issue of the concern about presumption. So I would like to clarify, and this was a point which the Shri P.P. Chaudhary made in his when he was speaking in terms of the standing committee recommendations. It is not an open-ended presumption. Supriya Suleji, I think, expressed that concern, that it should not be that by presuming that government has the right to take action. There are very specific conditions relating to presumption. Condition number 1 is that arms, ammunition, explosives and equipment must be recovered. Condition number 2, there is evidence of the use of force. Condition number 3, there is evidence of an intended threat. So unless these conditions which prima facie show that some act of piracy has happened. And even there, the presumption is unless the contrary is proved. So I want to say very, very clearly that this is not a case where you are presumed to be guilty unless you are proven innocent. There has to be evidence on two cases, or there has to be a recovery in order for the presumption to take place. So I hope honourable members are reassured in this matter. Then some members, sir, raised the question of international cooperation. Now, we have the whole purpose of the bill is also to promote international cooperation. And I think many honourable members and the Standing Committee pointed out that we have been members of UNCLOS since, ratified it since 1985. We have not pursued the subsequent legislation to deal with piracy offences. And it is important we are seen as a responsible international player. Today, sir, correct. So we are today members of the RECAP, which is an arrangement of 20 countries in Southeast Asia, which happens incidentally to be headed by the former chief of our Coast Guard, Mr. Natarajan. They deal with armed robbery and piracy in Southeast Asia. We are part of the contact group on piracy of the coast of Somalia, because there is a lot of piracy out there. We have been in the Gulf of Aden. We have deployed since 2008. We have also now joined the combined maritime force based in Bahrain. Shri Manish Tiwari ji had raised that issue. The matter had been under consideration, but we came to the conclusion that the benefits of joining were more than of not joining. And in fact, for the first time, one of our ships has taken part in an exercise called Operation Southern Readiness as part of the CMF. We have also engaged with regional navies. We have engaged with foreign friendly countries. We have done EEZ surveillance. We have done coordinated patrols. We have created a maritime domain awareness system. And we have a fusion center in Gurugram, which actually gets data from the entire Indian Ocean area, so that there is better maritime security. Then, sir, the issue of our fishermen was also raised. I think Sumati ji raised it. Now, I was, sir, in a dilemma when she brought up the issue, because she said that Government of India is giving stepmotherly treatment because Tamil fishermen and fishermen of the Gujarat coast are treated differently. Now, I'm a Tamil elected from Gujarat, and I was really not sure which side of the picture I give, because the other side would react. So I want to give a win-win answer, sir.
वो तमिल के गुजरात से चुनकर आए हैं।
तो सर संसद को मैं ये बताना चाहता हूँ सर, मैं खाली आंकड़े दूंगा, तो it is for the House to judge, and I am taking from 2014 because that is when the Gujarat argument started. So from 2014, the number of Indian fishermen released from Sri Lanka are 2,835. The number of Indian fishermen released from Pakistan, apprehended of Gujarat coast, is 2,165. So 670 more Tamil fishermen have been released after 2014. So I want you to, the honourable member, sir, to be very reassured. There is no stepmotherly treatment. In fact, there is very good fatherly treatment. Yes. And I sir, want to make a very serious point here. If there is any government, any leader, any prime minister who has given attention to the problems of the Tamil fishermen, it is Narendra Modi. Yes. It is Narendra Modi, because we have, during his government, set up a mechanism with the Sri Lankans to take up fishing issues. He has himself spoken to the President and Prime Minister of Sri Lanka on repeated occasions. He has asked me to deal with the Minister of Fisheries and other ministers on this matter. And the fact is, sir, that if today if today fishermen apprehended in Sri Lanka are being released, let us be clear. They are not released because somebody in Chennai is writing letters. They are released because somebody in Delhi is taking up the matter. So I would not like this to become for us, fishermen are fishermen, whether they are in our southern coast, whether they are a western coast, whether they are an eastern coast. We will treat them all equally as our citizens. I would like all members to be reassured on this matter. If I can move on, sir, to my...
will be there. तो
I can...
अभी तमिल और गुजरात संगम चल रहा है, बैठ जाइए.
Sir, I would also then move to the next issue, sir, which is the issue which many members raised about whether there should be the consent of or consultation with Chief Justices when specifying designated courts. In this matter, sir, we were guided by the Ministry of Law and Justice, citing precedents. And the precedents are the Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002 and the National Investigation Act 2008. In both cases, special courts were set up. In both cases, this were done with consultation of the Chief Justice of the High Court concerned. So I want to say that we followed that particular precedent. Then we came, sir, to the issue of various ministries. I think members wanted to know, have the roles of different ministries been defined? I want to assure them that there are already standard operating procedures and contingency plans. Depending on the situation, Ministry of Shipping has its own plans, and SOPs, Ministry of Defence, Navy, has its own. And our effort in the Ministry of External Affairs is to coordinate it. So again, I would like the members to be assured that this is being taken care of. Then, sir, I would like to, with those broad remarks, I would like to address some specific concerns which individual members had made. I will start, sir, with Shri Manish Tiwari ji. He had sought an amendment to the title of the bill saying Maritime Anti-Piracy Bill, not Anti-Maritime Piracy Bill. I want to assure him that is part of the government amendment. It has been taken care of. Regarding the Combined Maritime Task Force, I have already spoken about it. We have weighed the pros and cons and decided to become a member. He spoke about what we are doing to ensure greater security in the Western Indian Ocean and Arabian Sea. I want to assure him that we are working with our various partners in the region and our maritime cooperation there has become very much stronger. The death sentence issue I have already dealt with. He had referred to the word, there was a word, sir, in clause 4 on the word counsel, and he felt the word counsel was not the right word. We agree with him. The government amendment has replaced counsel with conspire. Then there was a concern he expressed that under clause 9, Indian nationals on board a foreign ship may have been hurt due to piracy, and we do not have the jurisdiction to try that. So we have removed that provision so that that problem is not there. The presumption issue I have already answered. So in regard to the issues pertaining to the bill, I have responded to the concerns that he has raised. So if I could move to the issues raised by Shri P.P. Chaudhary. He had raised this issue that at where there should be a replication of word aids and abets and procures. But what I have clarified to him is that 3, 4, 5 envisage different levels of culpability, and the punishment envisaged depends on the seriousness of the offence. And we leave it to the judgment of the courts to actually exercise the latitude which the law gives them in this regard. Then, sir, Shri Brithari Mehtab had raised an issue that the presumption should be confirmed by the High Court within 30 days. Yes. So I would like to clarify to him that the presumption is not an unconditional presumption. The presumption has prima facie evidence twice the word evidence is mentioned, once the word recovery is mentioned. So our view is that the designated court will not presume about the commission of the crime without those conditions being met. So I would urge the honourable member not to press his amendment in this regard. The second issue was also regarding confirmation by the High Court. Confirmation by the High Court, sentences of lower courts, confirmation by the High Court is only after the passage of a death sentence. So the process, in any case, the judicial review option is open to anybody who is found guilty under any of these processes. So we do not believe that that is necessary. Then he also raised the issue of legal immunity for acts that are done in good faith. This is a very relevant point. I would like to underline to him that this is covered by two provisions. 11A says very clearly, not all arms and ammunition are by necessary regarded as mala fide, that if the legitimate authority carries it. And secondly, 15.1 refers to authorized personnel who are in pursuance of their duties. So I hope that between those two, it will not be necessary for the honourable member to offer his amendment. He also made the point about international cooperation that I have dealt with in my remarks. Then, sir, Ms. T. Sumati ji had brought up the issue of setting up Sessions Court in Tamil Nadu. The designated court, I would like to assure her, will be set up in consultation with the Chief Justice of the High Court, and logically it would be there in all the coastal states. Regarding the effective coordination mechanism which she referred to, I have pointed out that the SOPs and coordination is being done. Death penalty issue I have already covered. The international cooperation issue, I think again I have already pressed. Role of state governments. She had asked for a clear definition of the role of state governments. I would like to inform her that under Article 6 and subsection Article 10.3, both of them clearly assign a responsibility to the state government, which is that the central government, for purposes of this Act, by notification, confer power of arrest, investigation, prosecution, exercisable by a police officer or any of under this code or any of its officers or any officer of a state government. So the state government has a very clear role in the enforcement of this legislation. I had referred to the Sri Lankan fishing issue, sir. Then she had also brought up Kachativu and expressed concerns regarding Kachativu. So this is a long pending matter, but I would urge the honourable member when she raises Kachativu not to look on this side, but to look on that side. Because I don't think the issue started from this side of the House, sir. This is a long-standing issue. It is an issue which the honourable member knows because her party has also been in the government along with the party which actually moved the Kachativu agreement. So I think it is best we leave them to sort it out. So if I could move, sir, to the issues raised by Sri Vinayak Roth. The creation of courts on eastern and western seas, my answer has already covered that. Sri Kalyan Banerjee raised two issues. One was abolishing mandatory death penalty, that I have answered. Then creating manpower and capacity for building marine police. I think this is a very important point. It is something which government will certainly take note of and give attention to. Then, sir, Sri Alok Kumar Suman had said that we should have consulted more countries before we drafted the amendment. I would like to share with the House, sir, that the Standing Committee actually looked at a number of other international legislation. And they looked particularly at legislation in Australia, New Zealand, Sri Lanka, and UK, because the legal systems were very similar. And many of these countries already had legislation on the subject. So there was a best practices effort made before we drafted this bill. Regarding he has spoken about internal coordination, international cooperation. Both are matters which I have already addressed. He's also spoken about creating a capacity building in this country to respond to to piracy situation. As I mentioned, some of this is already in the making, and certainly this, as with our SOPs and coordination, this will improve. One legal point he raised was whether we should focus on extraditing people of Indian origin who are involved in piracy. Sir, the bill which we have moved along with the government amendment does not provide for differential treatment of citizens of various nationalities. So for us, an act of piracy is an act of piracy. We cannot make a separate reference to PIOs in this regard. We have also, the issue of death penalty is also something he raised, I have addressed. Then Sir Kumar Danish Ali Danish Ali ji had raised two issues. One was, of course, death penalty. I have replied to that. And secondly, whether life imprisonment should be for entire life. This is a legitimate issue, but it is not an issue for this House and for the government to decide. It is a matter for the courts to take a call on. Then Supriya Suleji had referred to the fact that there was no mention of cyber attack in the bill. So cyber attack is a very serious matter. It is a very legitimate concern, but it is outside the purview of this bill because this bill is focused on piracy. So there are separate legislation and separate efforts underway to deal with cyber attacks, which is a growing concern. So I have taken note of the concern, but I do believe that this is not a matter to be included here. Her concern about presumption of guilt, I have already answered. Then, Sir, Shri E.T. Mohammed Bashir ji had moved for one for the fact the definition of the word vessel should be expanded. I believe we have met his requirements through the government amendment. He has also referred to prosecuting pirates irrespective of the nationality. That also under Section 9 has been met. He has spoken about the costs of piracy and how we will counter it. The cost cannot be quantified, but obviously it's a very serious matter, which is why we are moving the legislation. And he has spoken about government responsibility for countering piracy. We take our responsibility very seriously. Defense and Navy have their SOPs. Shipping has its SOP, and we are moving this legislation. Then, Sir, Shri N.K. Premachandran ji is, I believe, moving some amendments. His first concern was that with regard to police officer, that it should not be below the rank of a DSP. So in the CRPC, sir, a police officer, even of the rank of SHO, can make arrests. So we have gone with what is the standard CRPC definition. Similarly, the issue of gazetted officer, whether he has sought to insert the word not below the rank of undersecretary. We have actually deleted the word gazetted. We have just kept officer because different states have different practices and we want to respect all of them. And the High Court issued a consulting and consent I have already dealt with. He has spoken about the need for, in Section 9, to insert the word in writing for a request. That entire section has been deleted in the government amendment, sir, because of the need. We feel that it will, in a piracy situation, it is difficult to communicate with a ship. So we should actually avoid that and leave it for the authorized ship to take necessary action. His point about substituting the word reasonable opportunity for opportunity, the government amendment has taken care of it. Presumption of guilt, I have already replied. Mandatory death penalty, I have already replied. And regarding a ship situation in Nigeria, sir, it's a ship called MV Heroic Idun. I want to, because a number of members raised the issue, I want to inform them that the crew members have been charged on 3 counts. Their case hearing is coming up on 10th, 11th January. We are providing them legal support. We are giving them consular support. And we will do whatever we can to help them in the circumstances. Then, sir, I come to Sri K. Suresh's concerns. One was regarding the area of jurisdiction. I think the amended definition of jurisdiction, which includes EEZ and all waters beyond the jurisdiction of other states, deals with the matter. The issue regarding the imprisonment, I have dealt with as well. As regards the rarest of the rare and death matters, this too is something which I have already addressed. And regarding, he had some concerns about Indian courts not having jurisdiction in some cases. That has been deleted as part of the government amendments. And he was concerned that how does the law treat a foreign government's naval force? And what I want to clarify is that nothing in the proposed bill will apply to a warship or a government-owned ship employed for non-commercial service. So these, sir, were discussed earlier. Today Shri Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary ji also spoke on the bill, sir. One, of course, he was kind enough to note what he called my activities around the world. I appreciate that very much. I want to inform the House, sir, through you, that I was in New York to chair the UN Security Council, which is a matter of great pride for all of India. And the two issues which came up were the reformed multilateralism and counter-terrorism, both, that is UNSC reform and counter-terrorism, both of which are very, very important and subject of national consensus in this House. He referred to the G20 issue. It is outside the purview of the bill, but I want to tell him that this is a moment when the world is looking for Indian leadership. So if the world values India's leadership, I would urge all sections of India, including... because something is rotational doesn't mean you are not valued. So then, sir, sir, in passing, the honourable member also suggested government is indifferent, he used the word, indifferent to China. So I want to say something, sir. If we were indifferent to China, who sent the Indian army to the borders to defend us? If we were indifferent to China, why are we today pressing China on disengagement and de-escalation? Why are we saying publicly that our ties are not normal? So we have no problem if there is political differences, if there is even political criticism. I have heard sometimes that my own understanding needs to be deepened. When I see who is giving the advice, I can only bow in respect. But I think we should not directly or indirectly criticize our Jawans. Yeah. When our Jawans, sir, are standing, sir, our Jawans are standing, sir, in Yangtze, in Yangtze at 13,000 feet. Yeah. At 13,000 feet, they are standing there defending our borders. They do not deserve to have the word pitai. The word pitai should not be used for our Jawans, sir. Sir, our Jawans are standing their ground, so they should be respected, they should be honored, they should be appreciated. This is not something which is appropriate. So then, sir, let me come to the bill. One is the penalty, the graded penalties which apply. The graded penalties apply. There's no confusion out here. For certain offences, death can apply. For certain offences, life imprisonment can apply. Certain offences, 10 years will apply. Certain offences, 14 years will apply. The court will decide which of these offences come under which category. And finally, sir, on the bilateral extradition and bilateral arrangement, I think Shri Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary ji has a very valid point. It is something we have covered under Article 14. I certainly appreciate what he said, that on this issue, the issue of countering piracy, there is a there is a sense of unanimity in the House, so I hope that the entire House will support the bill.
एक बात बताइए माननीय सदस्यगण, माननीय मंत्री जी ने बहुत डिटेल में एक एक व्यक्ति का जवाब दिया है। आपने जो जो इश्यू उठाए हैं, एक मिनट, आपका भी नाम लिया, आपका भी नाम लिया, आपका भी नाम लिया। अब आपके पास एक मिनट, आपके नेता टीआर बालू जी क्या बोलना चाहते हैं आप?
You are wrong information. He has misinformed the House. Actually, the Kachati has been ceded
आपको अगर
by bilateral agreements of two executives only. Now, it has not been sanctioned with the Parliament of India. So that no way it is legal. So minister has simply passed on the buck to the Congress. So whether it is Congress or BJP or any government of this matter is not a settled one. This geography belongs, Kachativu geography belongs to Raja of Ramnad, who is the king of the Tamil Nadu at that time.
Okay.
Actually, this has been. This has been considered by.
Sir,
Mehtab ji,
I fully appreciate.
एक मिनट, मेहताब जी एक मिनट, बालू जी प्लीज एक मिनट, प्लीज बालू जी एक मिनट प्लीज, प्लीज प्लीज प्लीज.
Somebody writes to us. Is somebody, who is that somebody, sir?
Somebody is chief
minister. He is an elected chief minister. He should mind his word. He should withdraw immediately. This is not fair on the part of external affairs minister. Just to inform.
B Mehtab ji.
Honorable Speaker, sir, I fully appreciate the views that has been, the point that has come up by the External Affairs Minister. After a very long time, actually, we are discussing about anti-piracy. 2000 years ago, in the eastern coast, the Kalingan mariners had a flourishing maritime activity and they were fighting against piracy. During the 7th, 8th and 9th century, it was the Cholas who ruled the Indian Ocean and also conquered large part of Southeast Asia, and they were also fighting against piracy. And I am also remembered in the 16th century, it was Chhatrapati Shivaji in the Arabian Sea who fought against piracy. And in Sir, I am coming to that. Sir, in this 22nd century,
पूरी दोबारा से चर्चा करा लें क्या?
We are moving.
मंत्री जी ने डिटेल में आपको सबको जवाब दे दिया, क्या दोबारा से चर्चा करना है?
Sir, last line, sir. Sir, last line.
No last line, no. प्रश्न है कि विधेयक पर विचार किया जाए, जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में विधेयक पर विचार करने तो प्रस्ताव को स्वीकृत किया गया। अब सभा पर विधेयक वार खंडवार विचार करेगी। माननीय मंत्री जी, संशोधन संख्या 616। मैं सबको मौका दे रहा था, सब एक साथ क्यों उठे? मैं सबको मौका एक एक को दे रहा था। मैंने बालू जी को दिया, बालू बेताब जी को दिया, आपका सब एक साथ उठ गए आप सदन में। नो, गलत तरीका, नो। प्रश्न है कि माननीय मंत्री जी द्वारा प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 6 से 16 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हाँ वालों के साथ संशोधन स्वीकृत। प्लीज सिट डाउन। प्रश्न है कि खंड 2 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हाँ वालों के पक्ष में खंड 2 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बने। माननीय मंत्री जी, संशोधन संख्या 17 और 18।
Sir, I rise to move the amendment.
प्रश्न है कि माननीय मंत्री जी द्वारा प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 17 और 18 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हाँ वालों के पक्ष में संशोधन स्वीकृत हुआ। प्रोफेसर सोगत राय जी, संशोधन संख्या 43।
No, moving very much.
प्रश्न है कि श्री सोगत राय जी द्वारा प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 43 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य के पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय ना वालों के पक्ष में ना वालों के पक्ष में। आपने कह दिया था मुंह, तो मैंने चला दिया आगे। आपने कहा मुंह तो मैं चला दिया, आप पहले बोल लेते उसके बाद मुंह बोलते तो ठीक रहता। प्रोफेसर साहब आप सीनियर होंगे लेकिन व्यवस्था का प्रश्न है। प्रश्न है कि खंड 3 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बने, जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हाँ वालों के पक्ष। खंड 3 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बने। माननीय मंत्री जी, संशोधन संख्या 19 और 20।
I rise to move the amendment.
प्रश्न है कि माननीय मंत्री जी द्वारा संशोधन संख्या 19 और 20 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हाँ वालों के पक्ष में संशोधन स्वीकृत हुआ। प्रोफेसर सौगत राय जी, संशोधन संख्या 44।
Sir, I beg to move that in page 3, line 9, for 14 years, substitute 20 years. I move the amendment.
प्रश्न ये कि श्री सौगत राय जी द्वारा प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 44 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय ना वालों के पक्ष हुआ, ना वालों के पक्ष में संशोधन स्वीकृत हुआ। प्रश्न है कि खंड 4 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष हुआ, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में संशोधन खंड 4 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बना। माननीय मंत्री जी, संशोधन संख्या 21।
I rise to move the amendment.
प्रश्न है कि माननीय मंत्री जी द्वारा प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 21 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हाँ वालों के पक्ष में संशोधन स्वीकृत हुआ। श्री सौगत राय जी, संशोधन संख्या 45।
Sir, I beg to move that for 14 years and also be liable to fine, substitute 20 years, and shall also be liable to fine which may extend to rupees 10 lakhs. I move the amendment.
प्रश्न है कि श्री सौगत राय द्वारा प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 45 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें। आप तो हाँ बढ़ दो सौगत राय जी। जो सदस्य के विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय ना वालों के पक्ष में ना वालों के पक्ष में संशोधन स्वीकृत हुआ। प्रश्न है कि खंड 5 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हाँ वालों के पक्ष में खंड 5 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बना। माननीय मंत्री जी, संशोधन संख्या 22।
Rise to move the amendment.
प्रश्न है कि माननीय मंत्री जी द्वारा प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 22 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हाँ वालों के पक्ष में संशोधन स्वीकृत हुआ। श्री N.K. प्रेमचंद्र जी, संशोधन संख्या 36 और 37।
2 minutes. I have 6 amendments. So I want to place it on record. This is the first time in my parliamentary history, during the last 25 years, a minister comes to the floor of the House and responding to all the amendments which we have moved. We express our sincere gratitude and congratulations for addressing the amendments and responding to the amendments. And further, out of the 6 amendments which I have not moved, out of the 6 notices of my amendments, 1 amendment he has fully accepted. That is, reasonable opportunity should be given. Instead of opportunity should be given, that was accepted. And another amendment is partly accepted. That is, one is gazetted officer. That gazetted term is avoided and officer is accepted. Since he is having such a magnanimous approach in response to the amendments moved by the members, I am not moving the amendments, all these amendments. I am withdrawing all the amendments, and thanks to the Minister for accepting the amendments also.
माननीय सौगत राय जी, संशोधन संख्या 46।
Sir, I am sorry that I cannot be as charitable to the minister as Mr. Premchandran has suddenly become. All I want to say that he has not mentioned any discussion on China. He has not mentioned what happened at the United Nations Security Council. He has started. So, sir, I move that in page 3, line 15, for police officer under the code on any of its gazetted officer or such officer of a state government, substitute police officer not below the rank of superintendent of police or any officer not below the rank of district magistrate. Without being charitable, I am moving the amendment.
प्रश्न है कि श्री सौगत राय जी प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 46 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय ना वालों के पक्ष में, ना वालों के पक्ष में संशोधन स्वीकृत हुआ। माननीय सदस्य, हर सदस्य को अपनी बात कहने की अभिव्यक्ति है। उन्होंने अपनी बात की। आप कैसे कह सकते हो इतने वो क्यों उधार हो गए? आज उधार नहीं हुए, उन्होंने अपनी बात कही। प्रश्न ये कि खंड 6 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में खंड 6 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बना। माननीय मंत्री जी, संशोधन संख्या 23।
Sir, I rise to move the amendment.
प्रश्न है कि माननीय मंत्री द्वारा प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 23 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में संशोधन स्वीकृत हुआ। प्रश्न है कि खंड 7 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में खंड 7 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बना। माननीय मंत्री जी, संशोधन संख्या 24।
Rise to move the amendment, sir.
प्रश्न है कि माननीय मंत्री द्वारा प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 24 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में संशोधन स्वीकृत हुआ। श्री प्रश्न है कि खंड 8 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में खंड 8 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बना। माननीय मंत्री जी, संशोधन संख्या 25 से 28।
Sir, I rise to move the amendment.
प्रश्न है कि माननीय मंत्री जी द्वारा प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 25 से 28 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य के विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ संशोधन स्वीकृत हुआ। प्रश्न है कि खंड 9 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में खंड 9 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बने। सौगत राय जी, संशोधन संख्या 47, 48।
Sir, in page 4, line 9, for a magistrate, substitute a district magistrate or a district and session judge. Page 4, lines 11 to 13, for a whole period not exceeding 15 days in the whole, where such magistrate is a judicial magistrate, and 7 days in the whole, where such magistrate is an executive magistrate. Substitute for a period not exceeding 14 days at a time, and if the judicial authority deems appropriate, the custody may be extended to a maximum of 1 month as a whole. I move my amendments 47 and 48.
प्रश्न है कि श्री सौगत राय जी द्वारा प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 47 से 48 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय ना वालों के पक्ष में, ना वालों के पक्ष में संशोधन अस्वीकृत हुआ। प्रश्न ये कि खंड 10 विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में खंड 10 विधेयक का अंग बना। श्री बी मेहताब जी, संशोधन संख्या 41।
Sir, I just need 2 minutes. In this parliament, we have seen French jurisprudence being implemented when this house adopted a bill relating to terrorism. That means a person who is apprehended has to prove that he is not guilty. Similar provision is now being adopted here on presumption, what the minister just now mentioned, that he has to prove that he is not guilty. But this parliament also have adopted a law, had made a law that on allegation people can be apprehended and prosecuted. 498A is purely on allegation. This house has also approved, and it is the prevalent law today. Therefore, after hearing the minister, I am not moving the amendment.
श्री टी.एन. प्रतापन जी, संशोधन संख्या 49। प्रश्न है कि खंड 11 विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य इसके विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में खंड 11 विधेयक का अंग बना। माननीय मंत्री जी, संशोधन संख्या 29।
Sir, I rise to move the amendment.
प्रश्न है कि माननीय मंत्री द्वारा प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 29 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में संशोधन स्वीकृत हुआ। प्रश्न ये खंड 12 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य इसके विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में खंड 12 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बना। प्रश्न एक खंड 13 विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में खंड 13 विधेयक का अंग बने। माननीय मंत्री जी, संशोधन संख्या 30 से 33।
Sir, I rise to move the amendment.
प्रश्न है कि माननीय मंत्री द्वारा प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 30 से 33 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य इसके विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में संशोधन स्वीकृत हुआ। प्रश्न है कि खंड 14 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो इसके विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में खंड 14 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बना। माननीय मंत्री जी, संशोधन संख्या 34 और 35।
I rise to move the amendment, sir.
प्रश्न है कि माननीय मंत्री जी द्वारा प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 34 और 35 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य के विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में संशोधन स्वीकृत हुआ। प्रश्न ये कि खंड 15 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में खंड 15 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बना। माननीय मंत्री जी, संशोधन संख्या 4 और 5।
I rise to move the amendment, sir.
प्रश्न है कि माननीय मंत्री जी द्वारा प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 4 और 5 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य के विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में संशोधन स्वीकृत हुआ। सौगत राय जी, संशोधन संख्या 42।
सर, मैं संशोधन मूव करने के पहले बताने चाहता हूं कि मैं पहले थर्ड रीडिंग में बोलने का इच्छा प्रकाश किया था, लेकिन मैं कहने चाहता हूं कि एक ही चीज, हम अहिंसा के पक्ष में हैं। ये बिल से आप डेथ पेनल्टी हटा दीजिए, आप पायरेट को पकड़िए, उसको जेल में डालिए, लोगों को हैंग मत करिए। यही मुझे सर इन क्लॉज अगर आपको हिम्मत है, ताकत है तो उसको पकड़िए, जेल में सारा जिंदगी के लिए भेज दीजिए, मत मारिए। सर in page 2 for lines 3 and 4 please substitute the provisions of this act shall apply to the high seas, which for the purposes of this act includes exclusive economic zones EEZ of India. I move my amendment number 42.
प्रश्न है कि श्री सौगत राय जी द्वारा प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 42 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य के विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय ना वालों के पक्ष में, ना वालों के पक्ष में संशोधन अस्वीकृत हुआ। प्रश्न है कि खंड 1 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो इसके विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में खंड 1 यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बना। माननीय मंत्री जी, संशोधन संख्या 3।
I rise, sir, to move the amendment.
प्रश्न है कि माननीय मंत्री जी द्वारा प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 3 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य इसके विरोध में निर्णय में ना के पक्ष में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में संशोधन स्वीकृत हुआ। प्रश्न ये कि अधिनियम सूत्र यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो इसके विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में अधिनियम सूत्र यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बना। माननीय मंत्री जी, संशोधन संख्या 2।
Rise to move the amendments.
प्रश्न है कि माननीय मंत्री द्वारा प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 2 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो इसके विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में संशोधन स्वीकृत हुआ। प्रश्न ये कि उद्देशिका यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो इसके विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ। उद्देशिका यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बनी। माननीय मंत्री जी, संशोधन संख्या 1।
I rise, sir, to move the amendment.
माननीय मंत्री जी द्वारा प्रस्तुत संशोधन संख्या 1 को स्वीकृत किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में संशोधन स्वीकृत हुआ। प्रश्न है कि विधेयक का पूरा नाम यथा संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बने। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में विधेयक का नाम विधेयक अंग बने। विधेयक का नाम पूरा यथो संशोधित विधेयक का अंग बने। माननीय मंत्री जी प्रस्ताव करेंगे कि विधेयक को यथा संशोधित पारित किया जाए।
Sir, I rise to move that the bill, Anti-Maritime Piracy Bill 2019 with amendments be passed.
प्रश्न ये है कि यथा संशोधित विधेयक को पारित किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में प्रस्ताव स्वीकृत हुआ और विधेयक यथा संशोधित पारित हुआ। आइटम नंबर 26, संविधान अनुसूचित जनजाति आदेश चौथा संविधान विधेयक 2022। माननीय मंत्री जी।
माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदय, कर्नाटक राज्य के संबंध में अनुसूचित जनजातियों की सूची में शोधन करने के लिए संविधान अनुसूचित जनजाति आदेश 1950 का और संशोधन करने वाले विधेयक पर विचार किया जाए।
के सुरेश जी, माननीय के सुरेश जी।
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. To be participate the Constitution Scheduled Tribes Order 4th Amendment Bill 2022. The Constitution Scheduled Tribe Orders 4th Amendment Bill 2022 was introduced in the Lok Sabha on December 9, 2022. It seeks to amend the list of scheduled tribes in the state of Karnataka. Honorable Chairman, sir, the Constitution empowers the President to specify the list of scheduled tribes, and the Parliament is vested with the power of modifying the list scheduled tribes so notified under Article 342. The present bill therefore amends the Constitution Scheduled Tribe Order 1950. It seeks to modify the list of scheduled tribes in relation to Karnataka based on the request of the state government of Karnataka to include the Beta Kurba community in the list of scheduled tribes. There are currently 50 communities listed as scheduled tribes in Karnataka. Sir, the inclusion of Beta Kurba as scheduled tribes, the bill seeks to include the Beta Kurba community, synonym for Kadu Kurba, in entry 16 of the list of scheduled tribes of Karnataka. Sir, the government has not estimated the additional cost which will be incurred due to the amendment all expenditure on the benefits acquired to the people who live in the communities, outlined in the bill as part of the ongoing programs for the scheduled tribes welfare shall be included within government allocation budgetary outlay. Sir, in the past also in this house, I was suggested that state government has to recommend so many communities to insert the scheduled tribe list. I have no objection. If any community is for eligible in scheduled tribe, Government of India can bring the legislation, we are welcoming. At the same time, the reservation quota of the community is not enhanced. In this house, this session, we are inserting so many communities in various states. Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Himachal Pradesh, tomorrow Chhattisgarh. That communities are absolutely eligible for that. No doubt about that. But at the same time, the present reservation situation, these communities are getting meager quota. Scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, reservation quota is very meager. The population has increased, both scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. No caste census, nothing. But quota has also not increased. But at the same time, due to the compulsion of the state governments, due to the political pressure, due to the vote bank, government is bringing this legislation. So the existing communities, tribal communities are not getting sufficient reservation and also allocation, also Government of India, budget allocation, TSP allocation, department allocation also not increasing. That's why I would like to suggest through you, sir, whether the communities, so many communities, number of communities insertion time to time by the in the SC and ST list. At the same time, government has to moral responsibility to increase the reservation quota and also increase the allocation of the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe welfare schemes. You are not increasing the allocation. So that's why these two important points I would like to bring Honourable Minister to address this. Sir, what is the budget allocation, sir? Sir, the budget allocation, government has not estimated the additional cost which will be incurred due to the amendment, all expenditure on the benefit people who live in community. I already mentioned here, sir. Sir, the increasing the crime against scheduled tribes. What is the situation? The crime against scheduled tribe communities increased by 6.4% to 8.80 2021, according to the National Crime Record Bureau. At the end of 2021, 12,159 cases of atrocities against ST, including those from year before, were still under the investigation. The conviction rate for scheduled tribes under the Scheduled Tribes POA Act, along with the Indian Penal Code, was at 28.1%. At the end of 2021, 95.4% cases of atrocity against STs were pending the trial. Sir, further violence against Adivasi women had also risen. Women from the scheduled tribes communities account for 15% out of the total case of violence against women. The NCRB report 2021 also provided details on specific rape crimes, such as minor rape cases, attempted rape cases, assaults on women's outrage their mandatory, and kidnapping of women and minors, which collectively accounted for 26.8% of scheduled tribe women. Honourable Chairman, sir, according to the Niti Aayog, allocation for the welfare of scheduled tribe guideline, it is mandatory to allocate an amount that is proportionate to tribal population. However, the allocation in financial year 2022-23 was not proportionate, and the SC and ST budget have a shortfall of 40,634 crore SC and 9.399 crore for ST respectively. The budget for schemes aimed at creating jobs for STs in the Union Budget 2022-23 has been substantially decreased from rupees 889.5 crore last year to 11.3 crore in this year. The current year is Labour Welfare Scheme for ST, so decreased from the previous years rupees 12.9 crore to 10.66 crore. The budget for STs also lacked significant funding areas like education and women's safety. I am not going to further details, sir. Sir, the BJP-led Karnataka government has time and again prioritized dominant caste issues, leaving many tribal communities to fight for their rights. According to the Lok Sabha response, the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change stated around 260,779 land titles are yet to be distributed. Out of 275,446 applications received until 2020, only 14,667 land titles have been distributed. Among its southern counterparts, Karnataka is the worst distributing land deeds. The long delay was also owing to the course of setting up of the cabinet under the present government. Report shows that Karnataka is the third highest state, the forest under encroachment in India. Sir, more than 83,000 hectares of the land Karnataka is under encroachment. Government disregarded for tribal concerns threatens the process of resettlement of many tribal families in Karnataka. 400 tribal families settled in Nagarhole Tiger Reserve for years. Due to the reducing forest cover, Betta Kurba, Jan Kurba, Yeravas and Soliga have been encountering nuisance by animals and experience denial basic facilities like health care, transport and connectivity of education.
Please.
Sir, the process of resettlement faced multiple setbacks, especially due to the mismanagement of funds. The Karnataka government increased the reservation for scheduled tribes from 3 to 7% in 2022. However, the forest dwellers in some area of the Mysore region, particularly in the district of Mysore and Kodak, tribes that live in the forest, including the Janu Kurba, Kadu Kurba, Betta Kurba, Soliga, and others, do not have access to education or employment opportunity. Therefore, the forest-dwelling tribes are demanding for an internal reservation among scheduled tribes to ensure representation. This is the overall situation in Karnataka state. The tribal community is facing several issues. These are the important issues. Sir, I am not going into details. This bill is related to Karnataka. Sir, throughout the country, tribal communities are facing so many serious crises. There are a number of issues, but Government of India is not addressing all the issues. Unemployment, education, and also budget allocation, and health problems. A number of issues are facing tribal community, but the government is not addressing all the issues, particularly in Karnataka. With this way, I conclude, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I request all the honourable members, when a member speaks on his legs, please don't cross the speaker. Don't cross the speaker and the chair. That is the convention of the House. That is the rule of the House. But unfortunately, even most of the senior members are crossing in between the person who is speaking, member speaking, and between the chair. Please keep it in mind. Next speaker, Sri Umesh Jadhav ji.
Thank you, Speaker, sir. I rise here in support of the
Constitution Order Bill 2022 pertaining to Karnataka for the inclusion of Kadu Kurba and Betta Kurba. Sir, I am very happy today because बोलते हैं जहाँ रवि न पहुँचे वहाँ कवि पहुँचे. आज जहाँ आज तक कोई न पहुँचे, आज नरेंद्र मोदी जी सरकार और हमारे बम्बई जी की सरकार पहुँच रही है. आज ये छोटे छोटे समाज जो दुख झेलते आए हैं, तकलीफ झेलते आए हैं आज तक, उनको रिकॉग्नाइज कर आइडेंटिफाई कर हमारी कर्नाटका सरकार, बम्बई सरकार ने काड कुर्बा और जनु कुर्बा को एसटी में अमेंडमेंट करके लाने के लिए रिकमेंड किया है. आज पूरे कर्नाटका की तरफ से मैं शुक्रिया अदा करता हूं, धन्यवाद करता हूं हमारे मुंडे जी को और नरेंद्र मोदी जी को. आज ये ऐतिहासिक काम हुआ है सर. सर, आई वांट टू टॉक अबाउट द काड कुर्बास. The Kadu Kurba are the tribal people who live in South India. Their names means tribal people of the forest. In the language of Kannada, since the medieval times, they served as the soldiers in the armies of South India. Up until recent times, they collected and sold honey. Honey as their main source of income. They weaved baskets and items from bamboos and another way to get their income. In 1970s, the Kadu Kurba were removed from their forest homes by the Indian government. The trees were cut down for their and land cleared for the cultivation. The Kadu Kurba must now work as a day agriculture labor as low as their previous standard of living was. It has become lower. These days, they suffer from malnutrition, poverty, unemployment, and depression. Their forest homeland was distributed to the business and individual favored by the government. The Kadu Kurba speak Kannada as their primary language. They also speak other regional languages. Sir, Betta Kurba, the Betta Kurba community, which numbers less than 1 lakh and spread across the most backward area, remote area of Mysore, Chamarajnagar and Kodagu district, received the much awaited ST tag by the union government. Sir, today our government of Karnataka, our Bombay ji, has raised the ceiling limit of reservation for ST from 3% to 7%. Many welfare schemes are being undertaken. Sir, there are other issues in Karnataka. Scheduled tribe people are facing. Now, there is one community called as Koli community. Different names, different regions such as Koli, Kabaliga, Besta, Ambiga, all are the different names of the same community. However, some are in scheduled tribes category. These people, now I should thank to the central government also. These Tadwar community is included in scheduled tribe and certificates are being issued. Bombay government has also given the notification to give the certificate for ST certificate for this Tadwar Samaj. Sir, however, there are many other issues. This synonymous terminology of Koli Samaj should be considered, and further in future, at the earliest, such amendment should be brought and they should be given a ST tag. Sir, at the same time, there is one community, Kurba community, Gonda community. Gonda community of our region in Karnataka, especially in my constituency. Their fathers, grandfathers, forefathers, they are Gonda community. They were STs. Their father, grandfather were given ST certificate. Now their children are not being given ST certificate. Though CRCL has recommended to give ST certificate, they are facing a lot of difficulties. Now that also I request our Arjun Mundaji through Arjun Mundaji to send the recommendation. The people should not suffer in spite of government orders. A lot of people are suffering from such injustice. Sir, I sincerely request our government of India and government of Karnataka to include all these Gonda community has a scheduled tribe and Kurba Besta community has. Sir, only 1 minute, sir. Sir, in all India level, Banjara, Lambani community, they are also scheduled tribes in Telangana, Andhra Pradesh. In Karnataka, Banjara community is in scheduled caste. This Banjara, Lambani community, they are spread in 22 states in India, sir. Many states have already recommended for some our ST Lambani community, Banjara community to be included in ST, like Tamil Nadu state, Uttar Pradesh. I request Government of India to consider their request and consider them as ST, and also one special purpose vehicle for these Banjara, Lambani Banjara community to have one special purpose vehicle, special status. If they are not included in the scheduled tribe, at least they should get some benefit. Their economic condition, social condition and education condition, they are very backward. All India level, one special purpose vehicle should be set up. This is my sincere request. I once again thank Speaker sir for allowing me to talk on this issue. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Srimati Pratima Mundo.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, sir, for allowing me to speak on the Constitution Scheduled Tribes Order, 4th Amendment Bill 2022. Sir, the bill seeks to include Kadu, Kuruba and Beta Kuruba tribes of Karnataka into the list of scheduled tribes. So they have been demanding to be included in this scheduled tribe category for the last 30 years. So it is a welcoming step, and I support the decision of the government. Sir, the government has come up with 4 separate bills with the same object for inclusion of scheduled tribes, communities into the list of scheduled tribes. Today is the 4th day. We have been taking part on the decision, and 1 or 2 more days may be required to complete this discussion. But instead of 4 separate bills, the government could have brought a comprehensive bill, as rightly pointed out a couple of members, but I do not want to go further in this point. Secondly, sir, on the post-independence era, the tribal land has gradually been taken away by industries, mines, dams, weaponry testing, reserve forest, railways and transport, and many other purposes. This shows that the magnitude of the development induced displacement. So once proud communities living self-sufficiently now have been reduced to landless refugees, struggling to survive. So to come under the purview of the rehabilitation and getting compensation, land deed is one of the most important documents. But majority of the tribal communities do not have the land records to establish their claim. And I would like to know from the Honorable Minister that when does the government intend to resolve these burning issues by giving importance on the implementation of the 5th schedule of the Constitution. Not just this, sir. R.V. Chandrasekhar Ramina Heli of Center for Study of Social Exclusion and Inclusive Policy, National Law School of India, University, Bengaluru, who has conducted extensive studies on the rehabilitation and resettlement of tribal communities in Karnataka, informs that village forest committee or Gram Sabhas are constituted in such a manner that no one speaks about the right of the tribals in the forest. This is the scenario of our country, sir, and I request the Honorable Minister to take note on this matter. And sir, according to 1991 census, nearly 70% of the tribal are illiterate. Though government had sanctioned record number of Ecolab schools, but these institutions have been suffering from severe lack of teaching faculty and the poor infrastructure. So has the ministry taken up the matter with the Ministry of HRD to fill up this vacancy as early as possible? And sir, inclusion of more tribes into the list of scheduled tribe is not enough. Allocation of more fund is the need of the hour for overall development in order to prevent them from becoming a Maoist. And this is possible only through developmental program. And I would like to bring to the attention of the House to mention that the government of West Bengal, under the leadership of our Honorable Chief Minister Mamata Bandyopadhyay, has proved it in Jungle Mahal through developmental schemes implementing. And that schemes are, sir, for providing education, skill development, free ration, and road connectivity, supply of drinking waters and electricity, and not this. And sir, the Honorable Prime Minister called for TV Mukt Bharat by 2025. In order to achieve this target, malnutrition has to be eradicated, because malnutrition leads to secondary immunodeficiency that increase the risk of infection. In patients with tuberculosis, it leads to reduction in appetite and altered metabolism, leading to wasting. All these components, namely malnutrition, stunting and wasting, are measures of calculating global hunger index. Sir, how much ever the government says that the calculation method of global hunger index is wrong. So it is an indication of serious method of global hunger index it is a serious indication to in India. It is an indication of serious situation in India.
Yes.
And the majority share of people suffering from these SC, ST and other underprivileged people. How will the government make sure that they have access to proper nutrition in order to achieve the target of TV Mukt Bharat? And so finally, on 28th February 2024, Government of West Bengal had sent the proposal of the central government for inclusion of 11 tribal communities, namely Khash, Rai, Bhujial, Jogi, Newar, Mangar, Thami, Sunwar, Mukhia, Gurung, Dewan, Dimal, which has already been acknowledged by the Ministry of State for Tribal Affairs in his reply on 14/12/2022 in Rajya Sabha on a answered question.
Thank you.
So, till date, the action has not been taken. So, I would like to request the Honorable Minister to kindly look into the matter and take necessary steps at the earliest.
Thank
you, sir.
Thank you very much. Srimati Anuradha.
Thank you, sir. Sir, the bill seeks to amend the Constitution Order 1950 to modify the list of scheduled tribes in relation to the state of Karnataka to include the Beta Kuruba community as a synonym of Kadu Kuruba in entry 16 in the list of scheduled tribes of Karnataka as requested by the state. I would like to thank the Honorable Chair for allowing me to speak on this bill and support on behalf of my party. The Beta Kuruba community is spread across the most backward and remote areas of Mysore, Chamarajanagar and Kodagu districts and has struggled to be accorded the ST status for the past 35 years. Thus, I thank the Union Government to bring forward this bill which provides the community with the much awaited ST. The Beta Kuruba community will now be able to avail the benefits entitled under the existing government schemes for scheduled tribes. Sir, the Beta Kuruba community is largely a forest-dwelling tribe engaged in hunting and collecting forest produce. However, the collection of forest products is seasonal and thus they have no work in other periods, leading to low economic stability and even poverty. Therefore, the government must formulate schemes to provide more economic opportunities to the tribal community as well as skill development schemes to overcome poverty and unemployment in the community. So, when it comes to education, tribals struggle with the lack of transportation to their inhabited areas, making it difficult to access basic facilities such as education. Hence, it is hard for tribal children to go to school. This has also contributed to the high literacy rates within tribal communities. There is further problem with the functioning of the tribal ashram schools in the state. There is a high dropout rate at these schools and even those who reach SSLC are unable to read or write properly as per findings. One of the factors responsible for the high dropout rate is the medium of instruction. For the tribals, English or even the state language Kannada is alien, and hence it is important to develop modules and lessons to impart lessons in their respective mother tongues. The government must also conduct programs to eradicate illiteracy and provide proper guidance to these children to broaden their opportunities. And when it comes to health, sir, the National Family Health Survey and the reports of the Expert Committee on Tribal Health indicate that tribal women and children suffer from a high rate of undernutrition. Even the kitchens of the ashram school, which provide food to the tribal children, are reported to not to be cleaned properly. These findings are symbolic of a larger problem with long-lasting effects as malnutrition among those under 5 years of age affects their cognition, learning ability, and even lifelong learning. Given that tribal children are more susceptible to multiple forms of undernutrition than the other groups, the government should address their nutritional challenges to remove any barriers to their development, sir. So, the Betta Kuruba community and other tribal communities live in temporary huts or dwellings. The majority of the community does not have permanent houses. Therefore, it is necessary to provide a permanent settlement to the Betta Kurubas. Government should work on providing permanent